the hell is actually going on in Dallas Cowboys land? Because at this point, the reports are all over the place. And this plays into the video that I dropped yesterday discussing the report from Ian Rappaport that the Cowboys were planning to let Dak Prescott test free agency and there was no offer on the table. And the way that Ian Rappaport reported said report made it seem as if the Cowboys and Dak had mutually agreed that they weren't going to work out a contract. Well, we're getting conflicting reports to the contrary of that report today. Let's jump into this, and then we're going to have a larger discussion about what the hell is actually going on. So like I mentioned yesterday, you can see to the far right of the screen the Ian Rappaport report saying that the Cowboys and Dak Prescott have a mutual understanding of his contract situations with no offers from Dallas despite him being in a contract year. Owner Jerry Jones said, "We are where we are, locked and loaded for this year." By the way, here's the actual clip in which Jerry was discussing this, and I really get the vibe that it was more so along the lines of what I said in my segment from yesterday. This is a simple case of Jerry being Jerry, and it was just a flamboyant way for him to tell the reporters in a new way, we're not talking to y'all about the contract. It's none of your business. They've been telling us this literally all offseason, just in different ways.
Jerry, where are you with the Dak contract situation? I know you guys worked with him with the bonus, and I guess he worked with you guys to do the bonus to create some cap room.
That's in the contract. That's a part of the contract.
Okay.
My point is that we worked that out when we negotiated the contract, that we could do things like that. We're not taking anything away from Dak. Wants to do any and everything he can on and off the field to help us win. And so we are where we are. We have our contract. We're locked and loaded for this year. And we can see as we move along how we are thinking, we inclusive of everybody here, us, Dak, and we'll see what we do. I don't have anything to report today.
So yeah, even right there, even though Jerry didn't give the strongest measure of support or confidence there, honestly, that just sounds like Jerry liking to hear himself talk to me. I listened to this whole 10-minute interview in which we're kind of pulling some clips from Jerry Jones. And I'm going to tell y'all, man, a lot of this interview just reeked of a senior citizen wanting some attention. Real talk, Jerry has an addiction to talking into microphones. Take that however you want to. But he seriously has an addiction to doing it. And at this point, and especially at the age that he's at now, where honestly, his mind might not be as crisp as it was in the past, I think that it's just best for everyone's mental stability to ignore everything that comes out of Jerry Jones's mouth. Like, real talk, because I'm not sure he even understands some of the stuff that he says or how he says certain things or how it's going to be perceived. In fact, I'm sure he doesn't understand how it's going to be perceived. But either way, we had that report from Ian Rappaport yesterday. Now, today, we're getting a report from Josina Anderson saying, regarding the Cowboys and Dak Prescott, I'm told the team does intend to work out a contract for their 3-time Pro Bowl and 1-time All-Pro quarterback, and also has not closed off potential to consummate a deal for him this year, per source. While there is currently no offer or imminent talks, the team is not presently charting a path to let Prescott go to free agency, despite some chatter to the contrary, I'm told. Prescott's entire contract history with the Cowboys, from his rookie deal, tagging, extension, and restructures, are all macro indicators of the eventual goal, meaning Dak coming back. All right, so this is Josina Anderson essentially refuting the report from Ian Rappaport yesterday. And we also had a very similar report from a Cowboys insider, someone that actually works with the Cowboys media. Again, I'm about to actually ask you all an interesting question in just a second, but someone that actually works with the Cowboys media, Nick Harris, he responded to this report from Ian Rappaport yesterday, right? Per the team, Dak Prescott and the Cowboys have had extension discussions, but it is not a pressurized situation for either at this point. The door remains open for a deal to get done this offseason or during the 2024 season, but there is no urgency as of now. This report coincides with the Josina Anderson report that we just took a look at. What does all of this actually mean? What is actually going on in Cowboys land? I'll tell you what's going on. This is a major case of organizational arrogance. The Jones family in the front office and the way it wants to do business on its time when they want to do business. They have a very unique approach to organizational structure as it pertains to, I guess, managing a football team. And we see this approach play itself out year after year. They're always late to the party when it comes to extending guys. They're always trying to penny pinch and get the best value on a dollar. They're always making mistakes and overpaying guys, Ezekiel Elliott, Tony Pollard, that don't pan out and don't make them actually feel like they got their bang for their buck. They always have had an issue with trying to be cheap, and they have always wanted to do things the way that they want to do it. And that's exactly what this sounds like. This sounds like more of the same. Yes, because Ian Rappaport reported it yesterday, this entire story blew up and big major media outlets and everything. Everyone was talking about the fact that Dak Prescott would more than likely be testing free agency in 2025. They took this quote from Rappaport and essentially turned it into fact and giving themselves the small buyout, the small caveat by saying maybe, potentially, could. They started using keywords like that so they wouldn't get locked into a bad report. But I think that this is just Jerry being Jerry. Jerry liking attention, liking to talk to microphones, liking to keep his team's name in circulation. And I think that this is a front office that understands they are getting bent over as it pertains to negotiations right now. They have no control and no power over any negotiations with these players. And I say that because, let me ask you something. Why would arguably a top 3 wide receiver in the league go back to a team or re-sign an extension with a team that doesn't have a quarterback, or he doesn't know for sure who the quarterback is going to be? Why would CeeDee Lamb re-sign with the Cowboys or sign this extension before knowing that Dak Prescott is going to be back? Could this possibly be a situation like we've seen with Justin Jefferson? He's holding out from signing his extension with the Vikings because he's trying to see who's going to be throwing me the ball. I think CeeDee Lamb could be in a very similar situation. See, a lot of you are looking at this in a vacuum and just saying, oh, if Dak leaves, then we can just get a new quarterback and then we'll just roll out the same team and just run it back like that, and we would have fixed the issue, right? We would have fixed the all-pro level issue, right? If Dak leaves. I don't think that some of y'all actually are taking into account that there's a lot of guys coming up due for contracts. CeeDee Lamb, he's due for an extension. If they're going to have to start tagging him or doing some weird cap maneuvers with him if they don't extend him this offseason, and it's going to get ugly. Micah Parsons is due for an extension. Deron Bland is going to be due for an extension very soon. Tyler Smith is going to be due for an extension in a couple of years. And all I'm going to say is I see no reason for guys that are trying to actively compete, dudes that are still trying to compete and they feel like they're going into their prime. I see no reason for a wide receiver that feel like he's going into his prime to want to sign an extension with a team that's going to bring in a rookie quarterback to be the leader of the team again and to essentially start over. So I'm just going to say, keep that in mind. Keep in mind the fact that we haven't seen any of the other contracts be signed, and we haven't heard any discussions about these contracts being signed either. Just keep all of that in mind, guys, because Dak Prescott is going to be the biggest domino that has to fall. One way or another, we're going to have to get answers on what they're doing with Dak before we can really telegraph anything else is going to happen with this team. All right, but either way, I just wanted to make sure that I presented the fact that, hey, this is crazy report season. You're going to see reports that are all over the place. In 2 consecutive days, back to back now, we're getting conflicting reports. And I'm tending to believe more so the guys that actually work in our media market. How would Ian Rappaport, when we've heard Jerry Jones, we've heard Stephen Jones, how would an Ian Rappaport, how would a Jory Epstein, how would some of these people that don't actually work in the Dallas media market anymore, how would they have more access and the front office be more available to them than the guys that they actually work with on a regular basis and they see on an almost weekly basis, right? How would an Ian Rappaport have more access than a Clarence Hill or Nick Harris or a Patrick Walker? How would a Jory Epstein now have more information and access than a Jane Slater or someone like that? The answer is they wouldn't. What you're starting to see from a lot of these media networks and media outlets is you're starting to see people dress up not only common sense, but common takes that they've seen people have, common takes that different audiences have of the demographic that they know that they're working with when they're creating their content, whether it be a media post or video, whatever. People understand who their demographics are. The smartest and most professional in the field are going to take a look at what are the common thoughts, what are the common sentiments being echoed throughout my targeted demographic. Let me go ahead and formulate an analysis based off of that common sentiment represented throughout the demographic that I'm targeting. That's what we're seeing with a lot of these reports. We're starting to see a lot of common sense reports or a lot of common take reports where you're seeing people say vague stuff like, oh, some people in the organization believe in Dak, some don't.
I can tell y'all right now, on a personal level, if I'm doing it, I know for a fact that they're doing it, and I can see the crumbs leading to the fact that they're doing it. Y'all don't think these people are on X or on these social media websites and they're seeing Cowboys Nation and the things that we're discussing, the things that we're arguing about, the topics within our community that get the most engagement, which right now it's going to be Dak Prescott's contract negotiations. It's going to be whether or not you like Dak or you hate Dak. All these reports are just echoing those same vague sentiments, and none of them are actually coming from a place of solid factual evidence.
Do y'all realize that the Cowboys have done a very, very good job of not having any leaks essentially since Mike McCarthy has been here? We haven't really seen a lot of leaks come out the building as it pertains to the Dallas Cowboys. I'm just saying, man, y'all gotta take a step back and we have to be able to use some common sense here. We gotta be able to follow our own sense of logic and be able to look at something, and if it looks like a pig, call it a pig, bro. Don't call it a sheep. And right now, Dak Prescott and the rest of these players have the Cowboys organization firmly over the fire right now. And regardless of how much squirming we're seeing the Jones family do, because that's all we're seeing them do right now is they're squirming because they're uncomfortable. No matter how much squirming we see them do, that is going to remain the case. They're essentially going to have to blow up and handicap their entire organization for not just next year, but for like a season or two, like 2 or 3 seasons, if they were wanting to move on from Dak Prescott in the fashion that they would be able to move on from him in, right? So I just don't think that that's going to happen. I think that more than likely we're going to see Dak Prescott sign back here again. I think more than likely we'll see him play out the rest of his career here outside of maybe 1 to 2 years at the very end of his career before he retires. And I think by the end of the summer, we'll all realize that this was all just part of one big ass media circus. Because at the end of the day, we still them same old damn Cowboys, boy. This is crazy.
Calling me, texting me, paging me, asking me, am I still them boys? Y'all usually check on me. Listen. I'm still them boys. Hey! Woo! Oh, shut up, my boy. Hey!